My stomach twisted and I broke into a sweat after I saw my wife's secret Google account. It contained hundreds of intimate pictures of my ex-girlfriend, I told her. I felt physically ill when I stumbled upon a secret Google account my wife had, filled with hundreds of photos of my ex-girlfriend. I met my wife Jordan 9 years ago through some mutual colleagues. She was 33 at the time, and I was 36. From the moment we met, we hit it off instantly. I was completely smitten with her. She seemed like everything I'd been searching for. Prior to meeting Jordan, I'd just escaped a toxic, perhaps even abusive, long-term relationship with a woman Jordan knew but wasn't friends with. I had cut all ties with my ex, blocking her on every platform, and had no contact since our breakup. Jordan and I tied the knot right after the pandemic wound down, bought our first home together, and started trying to have a baby. It wasn't easy since Jordan has PCOS, but last year she gave birth to our first daughter. Being a dad has been a blast. It's like a dream come true. I thought I finally had my happy ending with my perfect wife, my perfect life, until last Monday. That day my laptop's battery died, so I grabbed Jordan's work tablet, which has an attached keyboard you can use as a monitor. I needed to check on some tax information, and since she wasn't home, it was just me and the baby. We've never asked for permission to use each other's devices because we've always been open with each other. There was nothing to hide, or so I thought. When I opened the browser, I noticed an incognito tab was open. I never would have imagined finding what I did. Jordan had a secret Google account with a photo album titled XX. Curious, I clicked on it. Was it an affair? Inappropriate photos? No. What I found was even stranger. Over 300 photos, 348 to be exact, of my ex, the woman I was with before meeting Jordan. This was the woman who made me feel worthless and tormented me. The album had been started around the time Jordan and I began dating and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. The photos varied, from candid family shots to pictures at her work events, even yearbook photos. I couldn't fathom how Jordan got her hands on those yearbook photos. There were pictures from vacations in Idaho, work events, and random crowds, with everyone else cropped out or scribbled over, focusing solely on my ex. Even more disturbing was another album with close-up shots of my ex's hair. Recently, Jordan had started wearing her hair differently, resembling my ex's distinctive style. There was yet another album filled with screenshots of my ex's social media comments. Since I have her blocked, I couldn't find these myself. It blew my mind how far Jordan went to track down these things, especially since my ex now lives in another country. There were also links to the exact outfits my ex wore, specific blouses, trousers, even a unique water bottle I remembered buying, as well as identical hiking boots and sandals. It dawned on me that my wife of nearly a decade had been obsessively following my ex, going so far as to emulate her style and interests. Jordan had, in essence, transformed herself into my ex. Everything I thought was genuine now felt like a facade. Our love felt like a lie. The life we built felt like a lie. I was overwhelmed with nausea and had a panic attack. Looking at our daughter, I felt a deep sense of betrayal. I haven't confronted Jordan yet. I don't even know if I want to. A part of me wants to grab our daughter and run, while another part wants to print out all these photos and leave them on the table for her to find. I'm at a loss for what to do next. All I want is to disappear, maybe just leave the photos on the table and vanish. My stomach churns every time I think about it. I can't believe this is happening. Asterisk, asterisk, relevant comments. Asterisk, 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 Kai. Asterisk. Wow, that's seriously unsettling. The best approach would be to confront her and see what happens if she can't continue this strange mimicry. The toxic part of me would probably start making offhand remarks like, you know, you really remind me of someone, and then just casually walk away. Asterisk, OP, asterisk. What's even more disturbing is how she subtly made these changes over time, right under my nose. My ex has a particular career, and it wasn't until after I mentioned it that Jordan suddenly wanted to switch to the same field. At the time, I didn't notice, but I remember telling her that my ex went to school for that. The hair thing happened more recently, and the outfits and items started appearing gradually. I'm not even sure how much of my ex personality Jordan's adopted versus what she genuinely likes. It's all so exhausting and confusing. Asterisk, Captain Quirk. This sounds like something out of a creepy story. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Asterisk, OP, asterisk. Honestly, I'm surprised by the amount of support I've gotten in the last hour. It's overwhelming, and it's humbling to know so many people have experienced something similar on both sides of the situation. As for our marriage, there haven't been any other red flags. Now, I'm not sure what else I might have missed. Asterisk OP added, whenever I talked about my ex, it was mostly negative, painting her in a bad light. My wife knows about the trauma I went through because of my ex, and I did mention things like her career and some activities she used to do. Everything else, Jordan must have found through intense cyber stalking of my ex's friends and family. I have no idea how she got hold of those yearbook photos. Asterisk edit asterisk. I've removed specific details to avoid accidentally doxing myself. Also, I think I accidentally got my original post removed when I tried to update it with a link to my latest post. Oops. Anyway, I'm the guy who found a Google Drive full of pictures of his ex. I never expected my original post to go viral on YouTube and TikTok, or to get so many responses. It's been overwhelming, and I appreciate the support. It's humbling to see how many people have gone through similar experiences. Now, for an update. It might not be as dramatic as you'd hope, but here it is. First, let me clarify a few things. If some think this post is fake because of certain details or the way I phrase things, that's fine. It means I've been vague enough to protect my privacy. Think of this as a creative writing exercise if that helps. Also, no, I didn't actually throw up. I was in the middle of a panic attack. The private browsing tabs were open to websites selling clothing and other items. One tab was signed into Google Photos, but when I exited to check the shopping sites and came back, it was signed out, and I couldn't access it again. A lot of the clothes seemed familiar not because I remembered my ex wearing them, but because Jordan had recently bought them. There were even recent photos of my ex in the folder, wearing these items. I distinctly remember the day Jordan bought that water bottle, which also happened to be in the folder. Jordan and my ex are of the same race, and my ex wore her braids in a distinctive way, though not unique to her alone. It dawned on me that Jordan's new hairstyles mirrored my ex, which wasn't something I'd connected until I saw the photos. Is it possible that Jordan got involved with me just to get closer to my ex? It's doubtful, given that Jordan grew up here, while my ex moved here for university. It's not easy to cross the border, and I doubt Jordan was going back and forth to stalk her in person. Plus, the reasons for my breakup with my ex had nothing to do with Jordan. She couldn't have been involved in that. Asterisk. On to the actual update. The next day, after I'd calmed down, I called several social workers and therapists. I wanted to confront Jordan, but the only places that accepted our insurance didn't have openings for a few weeks. Despite what many of you might think, I've known my wife for nearly a decade, and even though I was confused, upset, and doubting everything, I didn't believe she would be a threat to me. We took our baby to Grandma's and went for a walk. I didn't beat around the bush. I straight up told her I found the folder. Her face turned bright red, and she froze, trying to play dumb at first. I was persistent, and she eventually started crying, begging me not to leave her. Here's what I uncovered. Jordan initially started looking up my ex just out of curiosity, perhaps to keep tabs on her. But over time, it spiraled into something more obsessive, almost like she became addicted to it. She admitted that she wanted to please me, and maybe I talked about my ex more than I realized. Jordan confessed that she doesn't really know who she is, and she latched onto my ex image because she felt my ex had me first. It turned into a game for her, finding information, clothing, and objects that matched what my ex had. She would search for things like blue water bottle, green stripe, until she found the exact item from a photo. The reason I couldn't find my ex posts wasn't because I had her blocked. It was because she had made a new Facebook account under a different name. Jordan discovered this by searching for my ex's family members. She even created fake social media accounts, adding enough mutual friends until she could see my ex posts and got accepted into her private Instagram. Jordan wormed her way into my ex exercise Facebook group, where videos were posted, and even searched my ex school on a yearbook website to find those yearbook pictures. Over time, she amassed this collection of images, getting a thrill out of every new discovery, despite my ex being extremely private online. The folder was originally named Hex as a cover, in case I stumbled upon it. She planned to claim she was using the photos to put a curse on my ex. When she created a burner Google account, she renamed the folder XX, but she got careless and comfortable. and that's around the time I happened to use the work tablet. We took some time apart after that. Eventually, we made it to couples counseling, and Jordan and I also started seeing therapists separately. She hasn't been assessed by a psychiatrist yet, but it's on our list of things to do. Jordan promised to stop and deleted the album in front of me. Gradually, certain clothes disappeared from her wardrobe. However, I still can't fully trust her. That's something I need to work on. I worry she might have another secret account, like a backup. On the plus side, the physical mimicry, including the hair changes, seems to be stopping. We're still not okay, and I want us to be. But I understand it will take time. If we don't end up being okay, then I'll have to deal with that. What I do know is that my wife is deeply insecure, possibly struggling with mental health issues, and she's misguided. I don't want to walk away from that. This might not be the most thrilling update, but I appreciate the private messages, and the links to resources have been helpful. It's surreal to see my story picked up by social media, YouTube, and TikTok. Until next time, if there is another update, I hope it's a good one. *** relevant comments. *** muffin mocha. The situation doesn't seem promising. Why stay in a one-sided relationship? At the very least, put a plan in place to protect yourself in case things don't work out. Seek legal advice, gather evidence, and don't do anything rash. That way you'll be prepared no matter what happens. *OP**. Creating a plan is something I've been struggling with, even though it's been a couple of months. I think I'm scared to make one. Does that make sense? Now, on to the next story. Story 2. My wife and her parents, issue, ***. My wife and I recently faced a significant problem with her parents when they used X39 patches on our daughter, without our consent. I know the title sounds alarming, but please hear me out. For obvious reasons, I'm using a throwaway account. My wife and I are both 24, and we had our daughter in July. She's the best thing that ever happened to us, and we couldn't be happier with our little bundle of joy. Recently, our daughter got sick while staying with her grandparents, my in-laws, while my wife and I were away for work. For some context, my in-laws are big believers in LifeWave X39. It's a patch that supposedly stimulates stem cell growth by reflecting light rays back into the body, supposedly boosting stem cell production to fight off diseases and illnesses. To me, it sounds like a scam, and my wife agrees, dismissing it as a pyramid scheme. The only way to get these patches is to spend over $1,000, and then you're expected to sell the patches yourself. It's basically a multi-level marketing MLM scheme, where the more patches you sell, the more money you make. This perfectly aligns with my wife's description of it as a pyramid scheme. But somehow, MLMs are still legal. I've tried to dig into information about X39, and the only positive comments seem to come from brand new accounts with no activity before or after praising the product, or from profiles entirely dedicated to promoting LifeWave X39. Based on my research, these patches are just overpriced stickers. They don't contain any medication, special UV rays, or anything like that. They're literally just fancy stickers with an air bubble. My wife and I made it clear that we didn't want any part of X39, and we definitely didn't want our daughter exposed to it. Even if it's harmless, we didn't want to participate in something we believe is a scam. And on the off chance it does anything, we didn't want our daughter to be a guinea pig. Before leaving our daughter with my in-laws, we provided them with some infant medication, just in case she got sick. You can never be too careful, right? Well, we ended up cutting our work trip short because our daughter wasn't getting better. When we got home and were preparing to give her a bath, we found an X39 patch on her arm. Furious, we called her parents to ask why they put a patch on her. They tried to assure us it was safe, saying, "We even ordered the ones for kids 7 and younger. It's practically medication." Their response didn't address our concern. My wife checked the go bag and saw that the Motrin we gave them had barely been used. Her parents claimed that someone in their group used a patch on their child, who then got better within a week. But that wasn't the point. We didn't want our daughter involved with X39, and they knew that. Despite our explicit instructions, they went against our wishes. My wife was on the phone with them for over an hour, and it ended with her yelling, "If you try to come to my house, we will call the police," before hanging up. That was 3 days ago. Since then, We've had several missed calls from family members, her parents, her siblings, and even family friends. They all think we overreacted and argue that her parents were just trying to help. Maybe we did overreact, but the fact remains that they disregarded our wishes and gave our daughter a placebo patch instead of actual medication. Her parents argue that we're preventing them from seeing their only grandchild over something trivial, but we aren't willing to risk our daughter's safety. Asterisk, asterisk. Relevant comments. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Comment 1. I kind of think you're responsible for leaving your sick baby to go out of town. Asterisk, OP, asterisk. We didn't leave a sick baby. She was fine when we left her with her grandparents. We packed the Motrin as a precaution because, as I mentioned, you can never be too careful. She got sick while we were out of town, not before. Asterisk, comment 2. You make it sound like the X39 patches are just snake oil. Was it really Advil and cough syrup you left? Or just a generic bottle labeled infant medication? This story sounds fishy, like you gave the medication just in case, and then she immediately got sick. Asterisk OP, asterisk. My daughter's grandparents don't usually keep children medication on hand. We packed her Motrin as I clearly stated. We wanted to be prepared, just in case. Had you actually read my post, you'd know we didn't leave her with some generic bottle or snake oil. Nor did her grandparents have the means to go anywhere, as they live about 30 to 40 minutes outside the nearest town. The drive to and from their house takes a whole hour from where we live. My wife and I both work with sick people frequently, not as doctors, but in other capacities, so we often end up exposed to various illnesses. That's why we always packed Motrin, or whatever store brand equivalent was available, whenever we left our daughter with her grandparents for more than a day. Asterisk, asterisk, update 1. About a month ago, I posted about my in-laws' odd obsession with what I can only describe as a cult-like belief in stem cell regeneration through patches, which is clearly not a real thing. There's been some development on that front, and while I think this might be the end of it, I wanted to provide a quick update for those curious. I'm writing this from the toilet at work, so pardon the rushed nature of this update. After my wife essentially cut ties with her parents, we were bombarded with calls and messages from family and friends, but things quieted down after a week or two. We've since had my sister watch our daughter when we need to work, and we haven't had any more out-of-town trips since my initial post. During those few weeks, we didn't hear much except for a couple of supposed trash-talking posts on Facebook, which I couldn't find. We thought that would be the end of it. How wrong we were. About 2 weeks ago, CPS visited us after receiving concerning reports of alleged child abuse and neglect in our household. Of course, nothing like that happened, and the caseworker quickly saw that. We asked who reported us, but while she couldn't say, we had a strong suspicion it was my wife's parents. We were completely cooperative with the caseworker, and after she left, my wife called her mom and asked if she was the one who called CPS. Surprisingly, her mom admitted to it, though she tried to spin it as being for our own good. She claimed that since our daughter was sick and wasn't getting better, we must be doing something wrong as parents. Kids get sick. It's a part of life. But her parents are extreme anti-vaxxers, not just against COVID vaccines, but all vaccines, including the flu shot. Yet they're willing to spend thousands on some supposed stem cell regeneration stickers. The hypocrisy is unreal. My wife was at a loss for how to respond, so she essentially told her mom to go away and said she wanted nothing more to do with her. I know some comments on my last post suggested we might have overreacted by cutting them off completely, but now I'm wondering why we didn't do it years ago, long before our daughter was even in the picture. About a week after the CPS visit, my mother-in-law showed up at our house while my wife was at work. She forced her way in, pushing past me when I told her to leave. She demanded to see our daughter, claiming I was an unfit parent because I was depriving her of the help she desperately needed, since, according to her, our daughter was clearly very sick. Our daughter is perfectly healthy. No stuffy nose, no fever, nothing. I told my mother-in-law straight up that she was out of her mind. I confronted her about lying to us, going against our wishes, calling CPS, and then showing up unannounced and uninvited. We argued for a while before I finally had enough and told her to leave before I called the police. She stormed out and in true Karen fashion shouted, "This isn't over," before slamming the door behind her. I immediately called my wife, who was of course, the next morning, We filed for a restraining order against both her mom and dad, as they clearly aren't in the right frame of mind. The caseworker had to audit us a few more times over the past 2 weeks, as per their guidelines. Yesterday was her last visit, and she reassured us that we were doing well and apologized for the trouble this situation had caused. We kept her informed about the LifeWave patches, the unannounced visits, and the restraining order. While she couldn't officially take sides, she seemed sympathetic. My wife and I were livid and started looking at houses in another state to put as much distance between us and my in-laws as possible. Our company has offices in other locations, so there's a good chance we could transfer. We're hoping everything goes smoothly, the restraining order gets filed soon, and we find a place across the country. This should be my last update. Fingers crossed. **** new update. This post might not be as dramatic as the last two, but a few new things have happened. After my in-laws called CPS on us for no real reason other than us keeping them away from our daughter, things mostly quieted down. Some of you suggested we should take additional precautions, so we installed security cameras all around our property. Our neighbors, who are good friends, were in the loop, and any time we had to leave, we had video footage streamed directly to our phones. They also kept us informed. My mother-in-law stopped showing up for a few months after the CPS incident, but just before our move last month, my in-laws somehow found out we were planning to move out of state. They attempted to block our driveway, with her dad trying to block our front door. Not sure what they thought they'd achieve, since we have a back door and a side door from the kitchen, but I digress. Her mom parked in the driveway, preventing our U-Haul or car from leaving, and refused to move even when we threatened to call the police. They demanded we tell them where we were moving, but my wife made it clear that wasn't happening. She gave them 10 minutes to leave, or we'd call the police. Our neighbor came over during the commotion, but my in-laws still wouldn't budge. My daughter was crying as my wife tried to comfort her, while my neighbor and I attempted to get my father-in-law away from the door. He wouldn't move. Eventually, my wife called the police, and it seems another neighbor did too, because they arrived within minutes. My in-laws kept shouting that we were taking their rightful grandchild away and that we were doomed to burn in hell for it. Honestly, it was laughable. The police repeatedly asked them to leave, but they refused. In the end, they were arrested for refusing to leave, and the police even arranged for a tow truck to move the car blocking our driveway. As they were being handcuffed, we noticed they both had on those X39 patches. The police questioned them about it, but it was a minor detail compared to everything else. Finally, we were able to leave and move on to new adventures. We've been settled into our new house for over a month now and are enjoying it immensely. We haven't heard from my in-laws, and they have no idea where we are. We've blocked them on everything, but we still get messages from unknown numbers or new Facebook accounts asking where we moved. There's no way we'd tell them. Fortunately, neither our old state nor our new one has any grandparents' rights laws, so we're in the clear. ***, relevant comments, ***. Comment 1. You should seriously consider getting a P.O. box and routing all your mail there. **OP**. Hey there, we actually did get our mail routed to a P.O. box. Comment 2. Why weren't they arrested for violating the restraining order? *OP**. We informed the police about the restraining order. They didn't seem to care at the moment, focusing more on removing them from our property. However, one of the charges they faced after the arrest was violating the restraining order. It's unfortunate, the police didn't seem to take that more seriously at the time. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.